Have you ever lost a gunfight in Bloodstrike and wondered how your opponent eliminated you so quickly? Maybe you landed the first shot, maybe you had full armor, maybe you even had the better weapon, yet somehow they still won the fight. Most players blame their sensitivity, their device, or their aim. While those things matter, one of the biggest reasons players lose fights is much simpler. They're using the wrong aiming method. A lot of players ADS every single fight because they think aiming down sights always gives them the best chance to win. Others hipfire everything because they watch skilled players doing it. The truth is, neither option is always correct. The best Bloodstrike players know exactly when to hipfire and when to ADS. They make that decision almost instantly, and that's one of the reasons they win so many gunfights. In this video, I'll explain when to use hipfire, when to ADS, which weapons work best with each aiming style, and the biggest mistakes you should avoid if you want to become more consistent.
Do you want to buy bloodstrike gold? If your answer is yes, then I've got something worth checking out. I've been using loot bar, and one of the biggest reasons for that are the prices. Loot bar offers bloodstrike gold for more than 26% less than the official top-up price. And if you are a new user, you also get a 10% coupon to save even more. That means you get the same gold while spending less money. The best part is how easy the whole process is. All you need is your bloodstrike UID. Simply choose the gold package you want, click the yellow top-up button, enter your UID, complete the payment, and your gold are usually delivered within seconds. And thousands of users have left positive reviews on Trustpilot. So if you are planning to top up your bloodstrike account, make sure you sign up through my link in the description and pinned comment. You will get the best deal while supporting the channel at the same time. Alright, let's get back to the video.
Let's start with the basics. Hipfire means shooting without aiming down your weapon's sights. It lets you fire immediately, keeps your movement speed higher, and makes it easier to slide, strafe, and jump during a fight. ADS, or aiming down sights, reduces your bullet spread and makes your weapon much more accurate, especially at medium and long range. So which one is better? Well, neither. The correct choice depends on your weapon, the distance to your enemy, and the situation you're in. A simple rule to remember is this: close range, hipfire; long range, ADS. Medium range depends on your weapon. Let's say an enemy suddenly appears 5 meters away inside a building. If you stop to ADS first, you're wasting valuable time. Your opponent might already be shooting while you're still aiming. Hipfire lets you react instantly and keep moving, making you much harder to hit. Now imagine an enemy standing across the street about 30 meters away. Hipfiring at that distance causes your bullets to spread too much. ADS gives you the accuracy you need to land consistent shots. Now let's talk about weapon classes. We'll start with SMGs because they're some of the strongest close-range weapons in Bloodstrike. SMGs are built for aggressive players. They have high fire rates, good mobility, and excellent hipfire accuracy. If you're fighting inside buildings or around tight corners, hipfire should be your first choice. Keep moving while you shoot. Strafe left and right, slide into fights, and avoid standing still. Movement is one of the biggest advantages of an SMG. If you ADS too early, you lose some of that mobility and become easier to hit. That doesn't mean you should never ADS with an SMG. As soon as the enemy creates some distance, switch to ADS. At medium range, the tighter bullet spread will help you land more shots and finish the fight faster. Next are shotguns. Shotguns are simple. Most of the time, you should hipfire. Shotguns are designed for point-blank fights where every second matters. Hipfire lets you react immediately while keeping your movement fast. One mistake many players make is firing too early. They see an enemy a few meters away and panic. Instead, take one more step if needed. Get close enough for all your pellets to connect before pulling the trigger. Another important tip is to keep moving after every shot. Don't stand still waiting for the next opportunity. Slide behind cover, jump to another angle, or strafe while preparing your next shot. The harder you are to hit, the more likely you'll survive long enough to land another powerful blast. One habit that helps with every weapon is keeping your crosshair at chest or head level. Don't run around looking at the ground. If your crosshair is already where an enemy is likely to appear, you'll need much less adjustment when the fight begins. That small habit alone will make both your hipfire and ADS much more consistent. Now let's move on to assault rifles. Assault rifles are the most balanced weapons in bloodstrike. They perform well at almost every range, which also means you need to know when to switch between hipfire and ADS. If an enemy suddenly appears right in front of you, don't waste time aiming down sights. Hipfire while strafing to make yourself a harder target. Once the enemy creates more distance, switch to ADS and let the weapon's accuracy do the work. Think of an assault rifle as a weapon that adapts to the fight. The weapon doesn't decide whether you should hipfire or ADS. The distance does. Another important skill with assault rifles is recoil control. At medium range, hold your aim steady and make small downward adjustments as you fire. Avoid dragging your crosshair too much because overcorrecting often makes you miss more shots. At longer ranges, don't hold the trigger forever. Fire in short, controlled bursts. This keeps your recoil manageable and helps more bullets hit your target. Next are light machine guns, or LMGs. LMGs hit hard and have huge magazines, but they aren't built for fast, close-range fights. Their hipfire accuracy is much worse than an SMG, so you should ADS in most situations. LMGs are excellent for holding angles, defending teammates, and controlling open areas. Instead of rushing into every fight, let enemies walk into your crosshair. One mistake players make with LMGs is spraying non-stop because they have plenty of ammunition. A large magazine doesn't mean you should ignore your recoil. Stay calm, control your aim, and keep your crosshair on your opponent. Hipfire with an LMG should only happen if someone surprises you at point-blank range. Even then, try to create some space and ADS as soon as possible. Now, let's talk about sniper rifles. Snipers should almost always be used while ADS. Their strength comes from landing accurate, high-damage shots, and hipfire simply isn't reliable enough. One of the biggest mistakes sniper players make is staying scoped in for too long. While you're looking through your scope, your vision is limited, making it easier for another enemy to flank you. Instead, scan your surroundings normally. Only ADS when you're ready to take the shot. Fire, then immediately move to another position if possible. Good sniper players rarely stay in one spot for long because every shot reveals where they are. Marksman rifles work similarly, but they allow faster follow-up shots. They're most effective when you ADS and focus on accuracy instead of firing as quickly as possible. Aim for the upper chest or head, fire, adjust your aim, then fire again. Staying patient usually gives better results than spamming the trigger. Let's not forget pistols. Most players only use pistols when their primary weapon runs out of ammo, but they can still save your life. At close range, hipfire gives you the fastest reaction. At medium range, ADS helps you land cleaner finishing shots. Now let's cover some of the biggest mistakes players make. The first mistake is ADSing every fight. If an enemy is only a few meters away, those extra moments spent aiming can cost you the fight. The second mistake is hip-firing enemies who are too far away. Once the distance increases, your bullet spread becomes much less reliable. Switching to ADS gives you a much better chance of winning. The third mistake is standing still. Many players stop moving as soon as they ADS because they think they'll become more accurate. While it might make recoil slightly easier to control, it also makes you an easy target. Keep moving whenever possible. Small left and right strafes make it much harder for your opponent to track you without hurting your own accuracy too much. Another mistake is refusing to switch aiming styles during a fight. Imagine you're hip-firing an enemy inside a building. They run outside and create distance. That's your signal to switch into ADS. The opposite is also true. If you're ADSing someone at medium range and they suddenly slide right into your face, cancel the ADS and return to hipfire. The best players don't lock themselves into one aiming style. They adapt as the fight changes. Now let's finish with a few advanced tips that tie everything together. The first tip is to always think about the fight before it happens. If you're running into a building, expect a close-range battle. Keep your crosshair at chest level and be ready to hipfire the moment an enemy appears. If you're rotating through an open field or watching a long lane, so I have to expect a medium or long-range fight. Be ready to ADS as soon as you spot someone. Preparing for the fight before it starts helps you react much faster. The second tip is to trust your weapon. Every weapon has a range where it performs best. Don't force your weapon into situations where it's at a disadvantage. If you're using an SMG, close the distance before taking the fight. Don't challenge a sniper across the map. If you're using a sniper, avoid rushing into small buildings where shotguns and SMGs dominate. Always try to fight on your own terms instead of your opponent's. The third tip is to improve your crosshair placement. Many players waste time dragging their crosshair onto the target after they see an enemy. Instead, keep your crosshair where an enemy is most likely to appear. If you're approaching a doorway, aim at the doorway. If you're climbing stairs, keep your crosshair near the top of the stairs. If you're peeking a corner, place your crosshair where someone's head or chest would be. Good crosshair placement makes every fight easier, whether you're hip firing or ADCing. The fourth tip is to stop panicking. When an enemy appears, commit to your decision. If they're close, hip fire. If they're farther away, ADS. Hesitating by switching back and forth usually gets you eliminated. A quick decision is almost always better than no decision. Finally, spend a few minutes warming up before jumping into ranked matches. Practice hipfire tracking on close targets. Practice recoil control while ADS at medium range. Then combine both by switching from hipfire to ADS as your target moves farther away. After a few days, this transition will start to feel natural. If you only remember one thing from this video, remember this simple rule. Close range, hipfire. Medium range, decide based on your weapon. Long range, ADS. That one habit will improve your decision-making immediately. The players who win the most fights aren't always the ones with the fastest fingers or the highest FPS. They're the players who make the right decision at the right time. Every fight is different. The more you practice recognizing the distance, choosing the right aiming method, and combining it with good movement, the more consistent you'll become. The next time you play Bloodstrike, don't focus only on getting kills. Pay attention to how you took each fight. Ask yourself if you chose the right aiming method. If the answer is no, learn from it and make the adjustment in the next match. Small improvements like these add up quickly. Before long, you'll notice you're winning fights that used to feel impossible. If you found this guide helpful, let me know which weapon class you use the most and whether you prefer hipfire or ADS. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next Bloodstrike guide.